Good night. I'm back. I'm going to break down Euro USD, and I'm currently looking at the economic calendar. I see that there is high impact USD news tomorrow night. It's currently 8:50 p.m. It's reflecting Sri Lanka time, and we're going to check the charts now and see exactly what range we lie within. It does look like a potential range that we will be trading in until the end of the market tomorrow, where there's a suspected high impact breakout potentially in Asian sessions. So definitely just take a look at that when the time comes. I want to look at the Euro USD chart on the monthly time frame. We can see that long term it is bullish, and there is a recent structure break to the downside, so we are seeing a possible move down. And I'm looking at some zones right now that I'm going to mark up. And after marking up these zones, this is just all I will leave for now. This is just a estimate. This isn't the exact areas that price is going to react within, but this is where we can see it moving for now. And there is a potential resistance right there. So I try my best to put these as close together as I can, and this is what it's looking like on the monthly. I would not be looking for any longs right now unless you plan on holding it for 1,000 pips. Don't really look for any longs. Now let's get into the weekly. We can see more detail. Price is currently pushing downwards. Now I was potentially going to be a little bearish, be a little bullish a couple of weeks ago as I saw potential, and if the weekly did close and follow through about another 100 pips, then we were going to see a bull run for a couple hundred pips, but that didn't happen and actually rejected and came back into the start of a new bear trend. So you can see the bear market going down at least the next 100 pips before the first area of confluence. So I'm going to mark that off with this minor tool. So the reason why I marked it off with the trend line tool and not the horizontal line is because it's about a couple hundred pips away, and when it does hit that area, I do suspect it to go down at least another 100 pips before looking for any potential longs if you are bullish. But right now we are focused on shorts and shorts only. So let's go into the daily. We can see that the last day closed very bearish. It's a bearish engulfing, and it's a Mariposa candle going to the downside. It actually triggered all shorts, and if you are long, this is your last warning to get out before the market spills and starts to bleed. So let's mark up some resistances above if price does go back up. The only thing we're really concerned about, I would say, is this area right here. If price could climb up and close above this region, we could potentially see it drive up about 190, 200 pips. So that's where I'll mark this off right here. And at the moment, I do not foresee that happening. I'm going to go into the intraday time frames next to break that down, but we will have to see some sort of bullish momentum pushing Euro USD up, and maybe that might come as a result of the G20 meetings. So looking at the calendar, That news comes during Asian session. That's about 7:30 p.m. my time, and it's the ISM manufacturing PMI. There's no Euro news after that, and it is a bank holiday on Monday as well. So that is showing there's current weakness in Europe. And that weakness in Europe could definitely influence the drive to the downside. Now let's take a look back at the calendar. We can see that that would create the follow through that we need to close the next daily chart below the low of this range, and that's going to signal a drive to the downside after that. So take a look at the other time frames. We can see on the hourly there was a huge spillover. This was a giant spillover, 121 pips, and that was large. So let's see what happened the previous day and go from there. So there was USD news red folder, core PCE price index on Friday, and then there's a couple Europe news, CHF, there's Euro 2, and that influenced price to drive 100 plus pips down, changing the intraday sentiment, stopping out any buyers that were in here. That was retail stops, but it went even farther to trigger any stops of institutional buys that were still in the trade at that time. So as of right now, the pair will remain bearish, and I would say that there is an area that I would look out for right above 1.159. But when price does get there, I do not believe it will continue to climb. I just think that that's a good area to look for some sells between 1.158 and 1.16. But if you are going to sell in this region, just know that you have to have a wider stop. I would put my stop about 70 pips. 1.168 is the stop out if I were to go. Possibly have a stop loss at 1.167 as well, and that would be about, yeah, you guys can see where that is. It's kind of wide, so at the moment I would just wait until Sunday's move set up and then take a new entry, and then once we have a new trend to the downside, we can make our next stop loss trail down at 1.158, and that would be the best risk to reward scenario. So just have some patience and follow up midweek.